a friend of mine said, I just see humans as like a bunch of holes that just walk around. it's,
Not untrue.
it's a funny way to look at humans. So we have ears, we have nose, we have mouth, we have the sexual holes, vagina, penis, and then what's the medical term for your asshole?
Anus.
Anus. Thank you. This is a very technical discussion.
The rectum's further in. Don't confuse the two.
Oh, that's very important. What is there a difference between throat and mouth? By the way, so when you say throat, are we talking about when that hole actually becomes tubular?
So the throat I would count as just sort of the very back of the the back of the mouth, where the nose also comes down and meets it, where the tonsils are and the uvula. But you're right that we are a bunch of holes, but more accurately, we're a tube, right? We start in the womb as kind of this microscopic little disc, almost like a flatbread, and then we roll in almost like a burrito into this tube. And we're a simple microscopic tube. And from there, we grow into this bigger and bigger tube, and we become more complicated. And each end of the tube does split into various holes. So all the holes you mentioned at the front end of the tube, the front end of our body, right? It splits into the nose, the mouth, the ears, the sinuses, the tube to the lungs, which is the windpipe, the tube down to the stomach, which is the esophagus. And then the other end of the tube splits as well. Men end up with 2 holes, and women end up with 3 holes. The urethra, the vagina, and the anus, and men just, the urethra and kind of the reproductive system, they share a hole. So
I'm learning a lot today. It really is incredible that you start from sperm and an egg, and you have some DNA information, and from that, the building project begins. And then what that leads to is like pizza dough, and then you roll it into a tube, and that tube then eventually sort of becomes more and more complicated and gets eyes and a brain, and then can create a Twitter account. It's really incredible that we're just a fancy tube.
Right, we are. And we sprout eyes and a brain and a sense of smell and taste pretty much to regulate what comes in the front of the tube. We don't want to eat anything dangerous or poisonous. We want to choose what we eat, even choose who we kiss.
Well, we seem to be motivated by what comes out of the tube as well, in part. Right? That's not just output. It's a feedback mechanism, seemingly. Like we're also monitoring the functioning of the output. We're not just obsessed about the input.
We're very obsessed with the output. You're absolutely right about that. People have medical complaints about their output very often that are, I never cease to be surprised by a new kind of complaint or observation about the output.
I think people have gone to wars over the output, and maybe sometimes the lack of the output or the desire for output for the particular other humans that you fancy. The brain and the eyes that sprouted somehow convinced the rest of the body that this one particular other tube is fanciful. So you're going to go to major wars and lead global suffering because of the fancy and the desire for additional output with the other tube.